Hello, everyone. Ken Deeks here with a thought and a prayer from the Daily Office. I'm reading today on a Tuesday, and one of the readings is from Deuteronomy Chapter 6. We're systematically reading through the book of Deuteronomy, and Deuteronomy 6 includes these fairly familiar words. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children and shall talk of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise. So these are fairly important words. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And then this command, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. I want to bring up a little slide here of the 10 Commandments. And I find this is very interesting to me. If you look at the 10 Commandments, there's 4 of them which relate to our relationship with God. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall make no idols. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, and keep the Sabbath holy. And then there are 6 commands which have to do with our neighbor, honoring father and mother, not murdering, committing adultery, stealing, bearing false witness, or coveting. As the law of God unfolds in the Old Testament, we find that these 10 commands are expanded on, and examples of applications, almost like case law, are expanded on in the rest of the Torah. And most agree that there's 613 such laws in total. I can't remember if the 613 includes the 10 or not, or if it's 613 more. But anyway, there's a lot of them. But essentially, every one of those 613 laws can be traced back in some fashion or another to one of the 10 Commandments. And then we have what we call the summary of the law. And that's what we are really reading here in Deuteronomy Chapter 6. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your might. This is a summary of the law. And in our Anglican liturgy, every Sunday, we either read the 10 Commandments in full. Most often, we read a summary of the law, which is these words right here. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. And then it expands mind, soul, strength. And then Jesus, when he gives a summary of the law, he not only does he quote from here in Deuteronomy 6, he also quotes from Leviticus, and your neighbor as yourself. So the summary of the law, again, connects to these 2 themes within the 10 Commandments. So if you want to avoid breaking the first 4 commandments, you can do that basically by loving the Lord your God with all your heart. If you love the Lord God with all your heart, you're not going to take the name of the Lord in vain. You're not going to go and worship other idols. In the same way, if you love your neighbor to the same degree that you love yourself, you're not going to steal from them or bear false witness or murder them, and so on. And so these 2 texts really are, like I said, a summary of the law. And then Paul says in the New Testament, love is the fulfillment of the law. So we've worked really from the bottom up, but let's work from the top down. The law of God is basically summed up in this one word, love. And then it's broken down. What does that look like? Well, it looks like loving the Lord your God, and it looks like loving your neighbor. Well, what does loving the Lord your God look like? First 4 commandments in the 10 commandments. What does loving your neighbor as yourself look like? The next commandments, the next 6 commandments in the 10 commandments. And then how do these commands get fleshed out in practical ways in daily life? And that's where we get the case law of the rest of the Old Testament. So we need to love the Lord our God with all our heart. God is not looking for simply outward, rote, technical obedience. If we're going after rote, technical obedience, we will always find a loophole. Many years ago, when I was the dean of a theological college, we had a rule. One of the laws on campus was you couldn't have a TV in your room. And the idea was that we wanted students that were studying theology to have not really a monastic life, but a semi-monastic life. That this is a season in your life when you can focus on the scriptures, and let's block out these outside distractions that are not really helpful. So that was the rule. You couldn't have a TV in your room. And so we found out that God's little helpers, God's inventive little sinners, we're getting long cables and we're sitting out in the hallway watching TV. So technically they weren't breaking the law. They didn't have a TV in their room. They were watching TV in the hallway. So the laws of God are like that. I mean, if we're not really interested in loving God from our heart and loving people from ourselves, if we're just about the technical keeping of the law to keep ourselves out of trouble, we can always find a loophole. But what God says, if love and devotion and piety are coming from your heart, then you're not looking for a loophole. You're doing it from your heart.